Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be discussing why you should not use DUMPS to prepare for CompTIA exams. If you don't want to miss any of my video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and smash that like button for this video. So let's get started. To start with, let's define what I'm referring to when I say DUMPS. So some people say exam dumps, question dumps, or even brain dumps, and all of them in terms of this field and this topic refer to the questions that people who passed or who sat the exam memorized and then published on the internet in the public access. So you can actually access the questions, the part of the questions that you might encounter on the exam, and according to the CompTIA regulations, it's considered illegal and academically unethical to read these questions or to prepare to the exam using that questions. Basically, it's some form of a cheating when you try to break the system, read the questions that some other people memorized and just upload it on the internet and pass the exam. In this video, I don't really want to focus on the morality standpoint of view, because it's up to your personal moral standards if you're going to use dumps or not. But as I can relate to this topic, I want to come up with a logical and reasonable ideas why you should not do that. As you all know, or as you all will find out now, I have not passed my first CompTIA 1001 exam, which was my first IT certification and my first CompTIA exam. At that time, I was too stingy to buy Dion's courses. I did not know how effective he is, and I didn't know about Professor Messer's practice exams. I only read the Mike Mayer's book, and for some reason I was too overconfident to believe that I will read the Mike Mayer's book all in one CompTIA plus and then I will be able to pass it, which was not true. So just a few days after, in one of the Facebook groups, not the Dion's Facebook group, but just general CompTIA Facebook group, I asked where I can find the practice questions for the CompTIA. And many people recommended me some websites, and on one of the websites, when I click on it, and I experienced it with others as well, I saw around 750 questions about CompTIA, and I was like, oh my god, that's great, I'm gonna do all of these questions and it will be a good practice for the exam. Then going through the questions, while I did not know the answers for the complex questions, but for the easy questions on that website, some of the easy questions, I realized that the questions provided by the website were wrong. And under some of the questions, there were heated discussions in the form of the comments, where people would argue B is right, no, C is right, no, A is right. And all of them would provide some logical foundations why their questions are right, why they deem B to be the correct answer. That's why it was very confusing to find out which answer is correct, especially when it's a complex question. And then I realized by doing more and more questions that it's not an official website, because on some of the easy questions I actually noticed that provided answers are wrong. And on some of the complex questions, people are always arguing over different answers, and you never know which answer is correct. I sat the exam, I failed the exam, and then I realized that I should have prepared for the exam better, and I acquired the Jason Dion's course. And during the course, he said, don't use brain dumps or exam dumps. I don't remember exactly how he refers to the questions memorized from the exam, but he said don't use them because, first of all, it's academically illegal, it's academically unethical, and you're not gonna pass the exam with them. And then I came to realize that the questions that I did were actually brain dumps. They should have been from the exam. I cannot say that I saw all of that questions from the exam, or these questions were necessarily on the exam, because otherwise I would have passed CompTIA on my first try. But then I realized that actually the questions that I thought that are like official questions or some kind of a question bank are dumps. And now when I looked back on my CompTIA journey, I realized that if I have used the official resources and prepared properly for the first exam in the beginning, I would have passed it from the first try. And then also my experience with CompTIA allows me to come up with some reasonable ideas why you should not use the dumps. But anyway, it's up to your personal conscience and personal moral standards if you want to use them or not. First of all, as you have all maybe deduced from the video, if not, I should tell you that the answers in the dump questions are not correct. Well, they are correct and they are incorrect at the same time, because the people who prepare the answers to that questions are not professionals. They're just people who memorize these questions and upload them to the internet, and then other people keep discussing in the comments which answer is correct, and then you never know which one is actually correct or which one is wrong. While you can do that for the very easy questions, for example, what is media access control address, which one of the answers is MAC address, and you can obviously find that. But in case of the complex questions, as I said, it's not as easy. And our brain works in a way that whenever, for example, you start doing the test and the question is what is the capital of the UK, and among the answers there is Los Angeles, there is London, there is Madrid, and there is Moscow, you're of course gonna choose, if you choose the London, and then you see this question over and over again, what is the capital of the United Kingdom, you're gonna memorize it. Our brain, you want it or not, is gonna memorize that the answer is London. But the problem with the dumps is that the same question, you can encounter the same question over and over again in the dumps, and if the answer is wrong, you're actually ending up memorizing the wrong answers. And then, without even giving it a thought, your brain will throw at you the right answer as the brain thinks during the exam. For example, imagine that you see the same question at the exam, and then because you kind of memorized the wrong answer, you're gonna choose it and you might fail the exam, and it will not work for you if you keep memorizing the wrong answers. And as I said, even if you do the test and if you encounter one question more than once, or if you do questions a few times, you're gonna end up memorizing or having an idea about the questions and their answers, because our brain works in that way. Now the reason two. People who have sat the same exam a few times, maybe 2 times, more than once, can confirm that the questions that they have received were not the same. So, for example, if John passes the CompTIA A+ exam just at the same time when I pass it or I sit it, it doesn't mean that John and myself will receive the same questions. And even if we pass the exam in some kind of a time interval, still the probability that we will have the same questions is either 50% or less. So that's why CompTIA has a big question bank and question pool from which the computer automatically chooses the questions based on the objectives. I think that's how their algorithm works. It's based on the objectives and the percentage of questions from each objective that you have, and it's based on the complexity of questions. So according to the objectives, you should have the 27% of questions from the objective A, and half of them should be easy, half of them should be hard. I think some kind of a more complex algorithm is applied with hard, medium, and easy questions, but that's not the point of our discussion today. And they have thousands of questions, and if you do the dumps, prepare to the exam by using them, it does not mean that you are gonna pass the exam and you're gonna have the same questions as you saw on the dumps. And this does not guarantee you the pass. For example, on my Network Plus exam, I did both Messer's exams. I don't remember though if Messer has practice exams on Network Plus. It was either Mayer or Messer and Dion's exams. And one of the performance-based questions on the Network Plus exam was the type of question I have never encountered neither in Dion's practice exams or in Messer's practice exams, in no one's practice exams. So it means that I received that kind of a question from many other performance-based questions, but that were not covered by trainers. And so if even you prepare for the exam with brain dumps or use the official sources, it doesn't mean that you're gonna do well on your exam. Well, sorry. If you, of course, if you do a lot of tests, if you have the knowledge, if you prepared well, you're gonna pass the exam. But still, it doesn't mean that you're gonna receive the same questions as you saw on your brain dumps. Reason 3. Whenever you end up memorizing the dumps or end up preparing for the questions using dumps, let's assume that the answers provided in dumps are correct. Just an hypothetical assumption. But if you answer these answers wrong, for example, the answer asks, what color is the sky? And you answer red, but B. But the correct answer is C, blue. And you're like, okay, blue. But in official questions, for example, let's say practice exams on Udemy, some questions from the books, the questions that are not dumps, let's say, whenever your answer is wrong, you receive a very big explanation. Well, not very big, but in Professor Messer's case, the explanations to the questions that he provides are really big. And you end up understanding why the sky is not red and is blue. It explains you, and by understanding that, it also provides the explanation for the wrong answers. So if the sky is blue, you get the explanation, then what is red? What is green? What is yellow? And you end up learning a lot from only one question, because you both learn and why the correct answer is correct, and you also learn something about the wrong answers and why wrong answers are wrong. Because if in one question the correct answer is correct one, for example, B is correct answer, in another question, just if the question changes its wording or something else, the wrong answer in one question can be the correct answer in another question. So if you end up reading and finding out why wrong answer is wrong and correct answer is correct, you'll end up gaining much more knowledge and be more confident during the test. Last but not least, I want to tell you that it's very important to do as much as tests as you can. And as I said, it's up to your moral standards what kind of tests you use, but it's very important for your knowledge as a future IT engineer, as a future IT help desk person, or as someone who plans to begin or continue his or her career in the IT, to do the tests where you know that the correct answer is 100% correct, so that you can rely on the answer and rely on the question. Only that way you will be really prepared in terms of the knowledge for the exam, and you will not feel questioning in the back of your head why that answer was correct and the other one was wrong. So unfortunately, the dumps do not meet this very important requirement of the answers being correct. Also, when it comes to different practice questions, I receive many questions like that in my direct messages in Instagram or to my email address. I can say that, well, Dion's questions are pretty close to those that you can see during the exam, but Professor Messer's questions are very interesting. So whenever you do these questions, you really keep getting the hang of how everything works, and also they are not super 100% close to the exam's questions. I would even say that Professor Messer's questions are somehow more complex than the exam's questions, but actually other people can judge it differently, but that's how I perceived it. Well, the wording that he uses, the answers to the questions, the different multiple choice questions are very interesting. Also, the performance-based questions are very interesting too, so I really enjoyed doing them. And the last phrase is full of banality, but still, pass is a pass and knowledge is very important. Even if you pass the exam with low score or high score, it's still the knowledge that you bring out from this exam, from this journey, and from this certificate is important, because on the job interview, yes, you can get the interview by indicating that you have CompTIA certificates on your CV, but still you cannot ask your technical manager not to ask yourself questions because you already have CompTIA. Yes, you can overcome the technical assignment, technical projects that you might have in the recruitment process. I did that once because of my CompTIA exams. They just made me not to do the exam. But when it comes to the technical questions, you still have to do that, and you still have to have the knowledge to answer the technical manager's questions. That was it for today, guys. If you have any comments, if you agree, disagree, or you have even more ideas why brain dumps are bad, please leave them in the comment section down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and smash that like button for this video. Bye and have a nice day.